Good morning, everyone. I'm Rebecca Snyder, Executive Director of MDDC Press Association. We're here today to unveil insider tips for entering MDDC's contest. I'm trusting that you can all see my screen. I'm just going to keep us in the PowerPoint piece so that we can click around a little bit. Everyone able to see screen? Mm-hmm. All right, great. So we're going to first do some quick basics. Who's eligible? What are the categories? When's the deadline? Where can I enter? And why enter? So the contest honors work published in 2021. There's over 80 categories, and they're generally grouped into design, revenue, and editorial. So first, who is eligible? We're going to really talk about the who is all MDDC members, and we have a division for SBJ members. So there's 8 circulation divisions, so that all contestants are going to compete against similar organizations. So that means like the Baltimore Sun is not going to be competing at the most basic level with the Cape Gazette. So a first place prize is chosen in each category's division. So division A, B, C, and so forth. And then all the first place winners in each category compete against one another for the coveted Best in Show award. So as I mentioned, work has to have been published in 2021. So if you have a piece like a series that started in 2020 and ended in 2021, it is eligible. If you're starting something in 2021 and ending in 2022, it is not eligible. And then for advertising design awards, you can enter ads that are designed by subcontractors or outside companies, but the idea must have come from the publication itself. So I want to take a step back and just kind of talk about why you might want to enter the contests. It's great for staff recognition. In times like these, it's really hard to make sure that people are feeling appreciated and known for their work. So it's a great way to show your staff how you can value them. And most of our categories are extremely competitive. So it really does mean a lot if you're winning a first prize, if you're winning a Best in Show. Many publications use their wins to publicize the fabulous nature of their organization to readers. So, you know, everyone is scrambling at our contest entry, at our contest awards session, which will be May 13th, to highlight the staff wins, to use award-winning work to demonstrate the value of the journalism, their innovations, and staff. And then for the advertising side, many pubs use it to showcase their advertisers. Some members create certificates for their advertising wins, and some use it as a promo to show the value of their ad design work. So let's look at the categories, and I wanted to pop over to our contest platform, which is mddcpress.com/contest. Our theme this year is Trust in News. And then you can click over for the contest rules and deadlines. And all of our reminders kind of go straight to this page. So if you're navigating through, the contest packet is probably your best way to kind of keep everything straight as opposed to going straight to the portal. So as I said, there's three sections, and this has all the rules and all the deadlines. Deadline is January 31st at midnight. So, or actually, I guess 11:59 p.m. because people get confused what day midnight means. So we have revenue and promotion, design, and editorial. So we're going to quick talk about revenue and promotion. And those tend to be, we're looking for innovative revenue strategies. So they tend to be ways that organizations have either showcased a new event, promote themselves, or created a new business concept. You'll note that everything that has to do with the revenue generators is going to be marked with an R. So R1 is our new business concept. We have an event, advertising campaign, and then self-promotion advertising and community service. When we look in design categories, as I mentioned, design categories do not need to be designed in-house, but the idea has to generate with your organization. So we have a selection of print ads, ad categories, small and large, and then we also have online only, multimedia, and so forth. Now, you will notice in design that there are advertising design categories and news-driven design categories. And so sometimes people think of it as, you know, like advertising versus editorial. So page one design, feature page design, all the news pages are in the design categories. They're, you know, D whatever. And those, sometimes our editorial people don't think to look for them in the Ds. If you guys have any questions or need me to stop or go through anything else, please let me know. Just jump in. We're a small enough group that we can certainly discuss amongst ourselves. And then let's see. So targeted publications are another piece that is in kind of the design. So we have special sections, and the difference there is an advertising driven and an editorial driven. So you have things like in-paper products, which obviously are in the publication. They have to go at least once a year. A special publication would be a standalone product. So that's custom pub work, a TMC, if you have a magazine, something that's not going in paper. And then, of course, you have special sections. So that's distributed with the publication, and something that's news driven. We also have niche websites. So if you have a website for your blog or for a particular event, you can enter it there. And then a custom publication, which you're doing on behalf of a client. So a lot of people do like chamber guides or something in partnership with another organization. You guys with me so far? Does that make sense? Okay. Editorial categories, there is a ton of editorial categories. Now, generally speaking, we do not worry, care, whatnot, whether the entry was published in print or online. So you'll see here that we do have some online or mobile only categories. Those are going to deal with social media reporting, interactive media, things that are only online. However, all our general like news and beat reporting, it does not matter if the entry was published in print, online, or on mobile. It just needs to satisfy, you know, if it's breaking news or general news story or so forth. Does that all make sense to you guys? All right. So let's see. I think there are no major changes to the editorial categories. Our wild card is different. So each year we do have a wild card category, so we can be very topical. And this year, sadly enough, coronavirus is still with us. So our wild card is coronavirus in communities. The previous year it was the frontline effect of COVID. So again, this is the ongoing situation. Trying to think and do you recall any particular questions that kind of come up on any of these categories?
Nothing is coming to mind. A lot of the questions that I personally field have to do with actually getting access to the contest portal and remembering your password.
Which we will go over.
Which we will cover.
Definitely. So I will note public notice reporting. Public notices are the small ads in the back of the book that are mandated to be published by state or local statute. And so we try and highlight the importance of public notice by the reporting that comes out of those. So if your publication has reported on something that is not necessarily about public notice, but something that you sourced through a public notice ad, E21 is where you put it. I did want to pop into our personnel categories. We do have some organizational wide awards. So, and they're kind of divided into organizations and people. So the personnel ones, we have Editorial Rookie of the Year. That person needs to have been in the business professionally. So this is not interns, but someone who's been in the business less than 18 months. You need to submit 3 to 5 clips of the reporter's work and a letter of recommendation from the managers. So, as well as a headshot. One of the things that I want to stress about the personnel awards, because we also have annual designer of the year, annual salesperson of the year, and sales rookie of the year. You can read the details on each of those, but I want to stress that each of those requires a letter of recommendation. And honestly, it's the letter of recommendation that really provides that full picture of the candidate or the nominee. So if you are just submitting, you know, I want to submit somebody for salesperson of the year, and you're not putting a recommendation in, you're really hampering the judge's ability to make a selection because they don't know why this person is being nominated. So you can really help yourself out by submitting a letter to go along with it. Organization-wide awards. We have 5 organizational-wide awards. The website of the general website of excellence. So that looks at your entire website. We look at social media and engagement, local news coverage, how it's designed, multimedia and data visualization, and how responsive it is to mobile. Websites are really difficult because so many corporates just kind of give you the structure and you do the best you can with it. But we still do a fair amount of website of excellence nominations. The James S. Keat Freedom of Information Award is a body of work. And again, this is where a letter of recommendation or an explanatory letter really helps out your nomination, because it helps the judges. And we usually have some of our foundation trustees judge those large panels. A recommendation letter allows all of your body of work to kind of hang together and to understand what's going on with it. So and that can also, so some people like to do the FOIA award as like one long investigation. Some are talking about their investigatory work across the whole year. So it can be either way you'd like to do it. Our Courage in Journalism Award is something that honors acts of courage in journalism and strength in adversity. So while you're uncovering the truth, so you want to include, again, a summary letter describing the situation. And this is something that it could be a particularly difficult reporting situation or a way that an organization has overcome adversity. And then finally, our best moves category is something, it's been fairly popular over the past couple of years. It's everyone's sort of best move to position themselves to an area of strength. So it doesn't have to be editorial. It doesn't have to be revenue. It could literally be anything. I think last year, the Sun actually won it for their diversity committee. And so whatever your organization has done to sort of stand up to the challenges facing the industry can be considered a best move. We, because we've been virtual the past couple years, we have done an interview with each of the nominees and then put it up for audience judging. So that's been sort of a fun interactive piece. And we will do that again as well. So that's an audience participation. It's decided by an audience. And that is basically, I would use this, this guide to help you understand and figure out what you want to actually submit. So now we get down to brass tacks, which is our contest portal. And I know we're going kind of quickly. So is there anything that you all have questions about or want to go in more deeply? Okay, so we've downloaded the full contest packet, and now let's remember that our deadline is 11:59 p.m. January 31st. If you have a horrible, dramatic computer meltdown, we can work with you to make sure that your things get in the next day. But we really do want to. The 31st is really kind of the latest that we can accept entries, because our contest is being judged by another press association, and poor Anne has to process all those things, organize them, and push them back out. The Missouri Press Association is going to be our judges this year. So we've talked about eligibility, we've talked about the categories, and then the awards. Just will linger a moment here. We are really on the fence as to whether we're going to be able to do an in-person celebration or whether we'll need to be online. So we're kind of planning for all contingencies. In the past 2 years, we've done episodes that we've broadcast for the categories and announcing the winners online, which we will, I think what we'll wind up doing is the week leading up to May 13th, we will be announcing the first and second place winners online by category. And then on Friday, the 13th, hopefully we'll be in person for our conference and our final awards. And we'll be announcing best of show at that time. If we're forced to do it online, we'll probably follow the same rhythm, just doing it all virtually. But then you can choose your own lunch, which is always kind of nice. So let's go to the contest portal. Now, have each of you, I feel like each of you have entered the contest before. Is that correct? And Gabriella, yours has been a decade ago, so I understand that's a little bit different. So here's just the little rundown of rules and eligibility. All entries are $15 per entry. This might just be my screen, but there is a very subtle link here that says enter the contest portal now. Most of you are in as a contest manager, and so you're just going to select your media organization. I'm going to select, let's see, I have a test, Rebecca Snyder. I am my own publication right now. I'll put my password in. Your password has carried over from the previous year, but there has also been a lot of turnover in staff, and you know all those things. And so if you don't know who your contest manager is, if you're confused, call Anne or email Anne. She will figure it out and take care of it. It would be helpful to test this out before the 31st, but we will be standing by on the 31st as well. So this screen here is where you're going to manage your entries. So this is, I have put something in just so that you can, last year is I guess from last year's program is what I put in. If once you're here, you can change things about your account. So I'm assuming that each of you are the contestant manager, which means that all of your entries are going to flow through you. There are some publications who like to create an authorized or a secondary contestant contact to allow them to enter as well. It's entirely up to you. You can do that down here in the secondary contestant contact information. You don't really need to have your shipping and mailing address. The important part is you need your email. It's helpful to have a phone number, and you need your password. And so sometimes people get messed up because their passwords aren't secure enough or long enough, and that's why it doesn't seem to be taking your old password. So if you want to, you can always go to My Contest. We're in my account right now. We're going to submit our entry. So the first step, you choose the division that you want to go in. So your division for the contest itself, you might think, oh, my division is division A, B, or C, depending on your circulation area. You're already, just by virtue of signing in, we've already assigned you to your circ division. So I just arbitrarily put mine in division A. Double check though to make sure that your circulation is, that you're in the correct division, because if you are, you know, a daily that was once in division B, but your circulation has shrunk and now you're in division C, you really should be competing against division C, other division C papers. We think we've got it all right, but one never knows. So division for our purposes here are those big categories we talked about, whether it's design, editorial, organization-wide, personal, and so forth. So I'm just going to put editorial in here, and you choose your category. And this is where it's helpful to have kind of organized your things ahead of time. So I'm just, again, going to arbitrarily choose E14, business reporting. You put your headline in, test headline, and your run date. So if you are running if you have a series that you'd want, and most, like for instance, business reporting is a single story, but there are some categories that are multiples or a series, you put the last ending date. And of course, everything needs to have ended in 2021. Now, let's talk a little bit about whether you want to do PDFs or URLs. It is entirely up to you. Making a ton of PDFs can be a huge pain. If you do a PDF, make sure it's clear to the judges what they're supposed to judge. Sometimes it can be difficult if you have a lot of stories on a particular page to know what the judges are supposed to judge. Many publications just draw a red box around it. So that is certainly a simple way to do it, but then you have to create the PDFs. You can also paste your URLs to the story, and you can do as many as you like. This, I think, is a lot simpler for many people. The way, so let me just pull, oops, sorry, I'm going to pull a URL just arbitrarily to put in our contest. And we'll get back to scrapbooks in a moment. When you are, and if you are paywall protected, in the comments, you should put the password, or many publications create sort of a contest account, subscriber account. Always put the login credentials in the comments, because on a very basic level, if the judge cannot access your entry, they are not going to, they're not going to look favorably on it. I mean, like, it's hard. We always get a flood of people saying, oh, I can't log in here, I can't log in there. And we always do provide the subscriber login, but that's an extra step for the judge. So make sure you're putting your best foot forward. Put your subscriber login if you have it. Now, do not think, oh, we have a metered website and people can get 10 free articles, that'll be fine. Judges are judging probably several categories. We like to keep them in the same division just so that they can make sense of it all, it is very likely that they're going back multiple times, or your content might be compelling and they're looking around to different things. They will meter out very quickly. So definitely subscriber login is key. The number of pages the entry was printed on, that doesn't have anything to do with the contest or whatnot. So you can just put whatever number you want. It just cannot be null. You can't leave it as choose. Just select something and move on. You can put up to 5 people to credit for the entry. If it's staff, that's fine. You just put it in. If it's the first and last name, go ahead and do that. Let's talk for a second about how these names are presented in our awards and on our certificates. Whatever you are putting in these fields is what essentially gets printed on the certificate and in the presentation documents. So we try and correct spelling where we see it or where we can, but we're kind of relying on you. So let's make sure we've got everything here. If you do a URL, you don't need to put a PDF. You can do both if you want, but there's no need to do both. BNC has this browse my scrapbooks situation. If you were really on top of it over the course of the year, you could put things in you could put potential entries in your scrapbook and then pull from it as you go through. I don't know that anyone is really doing that. All right, so I'm just going to put my name in. It does always have the reCAPTCHA. And here's the password. So make sure that you're submitting login credentials. You don't have to see this message all the time. And so now you can see, okay, I have this official entry form. If you're going to submit another entry, you just click the submit another entry session. Once you've finished all the things that you want to put in, you are going to calculate your entry fees. You'll see what you have. And you can see that we were just testing that. So this business reporting is a $15 fee. The only free entries we have are for public notice. Just be aware. And you can pay. There's a couple ways you can pay. You can pay through PayPal with a credit card, either through PayPal itself or with a credit card, or you can mail in a check. Or there are some publications, I think I&I likes to do this. They want us to consolidate all of their entries because there's multiple publications and just send them an invoice after the contest deadline so they can pay by check. So when you're mailing in, that doesn't mean that you have to then remember, oh gosh, here's my check for $150 for this publication, $385 for the next, and so forth. We can consolidate and bill you. You guys with me so far? Where do you think you're going to get messed up? Excuse me. Oh, sorry, I didn't select any entries. I'm so glad nobody thinks they're going to get messed up. So the check number, you don't have to know the check number. You can just say going to mail in. Because I don't think anyone on this call would have access to know what the check number will ever be. So don't fret about that. And so you'll then be able to see what your final total was. Let me see. I'm going to stop share for a moment so we can see everyone. Let's see if I've gotten everything on my hit parade. And that is pretty much it. It is kind of a whirlwind tour, but are there any questions or concerns or areas that you would like me to go over again?
Rebecca,
Yeah.
what I would like to just echo what you said earlier and just emphasize the importance of making sure you have that paywall information. We had at the last minute, we're last minute to put our contest entries in, but the judges are also last minute people getting their judging assignments done. And, the last day they're saying, I can't get in. And then if I have trouble reaching out to the publication to get that password information, they may just move on. So we don't want anyone to get missed. So it's just really, really important that you have that that paywall information in the comments. The other thing is, this may seem silly, but if you're submitting PDFs and you have a piece that was on 2 separate pages or 3 pages, make sure you have all your pages. I saw several, I spot check entries, but I don't check everyone. And so we have times when maybe you forgot to submit the second page and you only have half an article. So that's only half a judging. So I just want to remind everyone, make sure you've got everything ready to submit. So.
And I guess around PDFs, you don't have to submit 3 different PDFs, one for each page. Just combine them into one PDF. You're totally fine to do that. If you're doing target publications that are particularly heavy, or if they're in, like a Page Turn Pro, you can submit that as a URL. There's a lot of different ways to do it. If you ever run into an issue with just the size of your file, I know we had one a couple years ago that was like a 200-page special section. It was massive. We wound up, and the contest portal couldn't accommodate files of that size. We wound up just creating a Dropbox and making sure that the judges had that URL. So we will help you figure out how to get your pieces in. We just need to know where you're having trouble. Generally, go ahead.
Do you have specs for the PDFs that, for DPI? And
they're not, they're really web resolutions. So
okay.
A word
so
about
a small one's fine.
Yeah, so you don't need to do like high quality printing or anything like that. In fact, I would recommend a web resolution generally, because, if you're and most of our judges are judging, a couple categories. If they're waiting for this huge file to download, it's a pain for everybody. It just takes longer than it should. We use, and if you've watched our presentations in the past, we use a screenshot or a graphic or something to liven up our presentation. So, but we're again doing all that at a web resolution. So
okay, that sounds good. And how about like if you're uploading PDFs, do you have to upload them at the same time, or can you go back over, a week and keep adding?
You can keep adding. So nothing is done until you go to that final, submit your entries page. Okay. So you can see all of your, when you go to manage entries, and I didn't show you because, I was showing you how to do one. When you go back to your manage entry pages, you will see all of them. And there's, actually, I'll quick show you the screen so you can see it. Over here, so this is that business reporting that we've done. You can edit, you can delete it. So say somebody says, gosh, I really didn't want to do that one, I want to do something else. You can change whatever you want about it. So if you've muffed up your deadline or put it in the wrong spot, here's you can go back and edit everything.
Okay, great, thank you.
Sure thing. Any other questions that you guys have? All right, well, I feel like you are now known just enough to be dangerous. Remember that we are here for you. The contest season it's a really fun season, and our goal is to celebrate all the amazing work that you all have done throughout the previous year. We really do want to make sure that we're highlighting that. And so we need your help to be able to celebrate you properly. And if you have questions, just reach on out. We are here. Okay, well, with
Thank
that,
you.
I'm going to stop recording and let you get about your day. Thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing your entries.